Good. Good morning, everybody from Australia. Good evening to all our American friends, and it's very late for all our European friends. Anyway, listen, lovely to see you all. This is for non-patrons, the first live stream of the year, I believe.
Yeah,
actually
okay,
so welcome all of you. There's already almost 400 of you already watching this, so wow. Thank you for staying up late, staying up early for this. You know, as always, feel free to hit the like button. It's pretty good for us if you can do that for us. So hit the like, leave us the questions, and these live streams tend to be very much kind of like a bit of a free-for-all, a bit like a kind of like a European rave circa 2006. So it's a bit mental. Ask your questions. If we don't answer them, just keep asking them, because they all stream up really quickly. We will give you obviously our take on all this, and try and answer as many as possible in the allotted time. And then obviously after that, we'll you know, hopefully you'll leave with satisfied answers and sleep well tonight.
So let's firstly say some hellos. There's loads of you here. There's 440 people watching right now. So I'm not going to be able to say hello to all of you, unfortunately, but just quickly run through some of the people who are saying hello to us on the chat. There's Tom, there's Dave, Anthony, Chick Flick Cherry. I love some of the usernames.
Chick Flick Cherry. That sounds like a chocolate bar and a stripper all rolled into one. So thank you so much, Chick Flick Cherry.
Keith, Gavin, Paul, Robert, John, Michael, Dale, Sandra, Graham, Steve, Brad, Leonard.
All of you.
Bad Decisions RV. There's a story behind that, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so listen, questions, keep them all fired up. I think what we're going to do, let's start with Ruby Rose 2 news, because obviously if we're running this like the news program, this Ruby Rose 2 news.
Very professional.
So Ruby Rose 2 news, first thing to tell you is we had an email from Seawind 2 days ago, Friday, saying we're starting the build of your boat next month, so in 2 weeks' time. So that is like, I guess so. Teresa and I were talking about this yesterday. Literally, it seems as if it's been like a concept and so much work for so long on paper to actually them say, okay, we're laying up the hull next month. We're like, okay, wow. So yeah, so hull number 1 is being constructed. There are, you know, lots of people building and doing the layout for the fiberglass of hull number 1. As you know, we chose not to have hull number 1 so that we could look at a physical version of the boat and do our last minute specs ourselves. So yeah, so they're starting the build of our boat in 2 to 3 weeks. Amazing, amazing. The second question, so question 1B, is what are we doing about filming it? Obviously, we are in Australia at the moment and we cannot get into Vietnam. However, we are talking with a lot of the team at Seawind, and they are going to film aspects of it for us, and we are going to they're going to send it to us. We will edit it and then put it all out for you. So we hope over the course of the next, let's just say 6 months, until we can hopefully get into Vietnam, we will be putting out updates on the build, and those updates will be coming to you courtesy of us editing remotely. But yes, so we are going to get all that editing to you, so, and all that news to you. So like we are super excited about this. It's honestly, yeah. And the boat looks huge. Like looking at it, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, looking at those hulls, it's like we're gonna have a lot of space on this boat. So
it's gonna be very exciting. I can't believe that we're gonna be like. It feels like this has been kind of in the future, and now we're actually going to have Ruby Rose 2 being built. It's quite amazing.
Nuts.
So let's get on with some questions.
Yes.
Unless there's any other updates.
No, I shall think of those in a
minute. So Leonard says, how on earth did you manage to fly back to Australia during restricted international flights? Well, it's funny you should ask that question, because if you tune into our next episode, which will be released on Tuesday morning Australian time, Monday evening American time, that answers that question. So I'll leave on that. I was going to leave on that.
It was very, we were very lucky.
Yeah. Have you had any contact from Ruby Rose 1? We actually had a photo sent to us, didn't we?
Yeah, but not by the owners. I think someone, one of you beautiful people, was sailing around the Solent, And yeah, Ruby Rose sailed past, and they snapped a photo and sent it to us. So yeah, so if you do see Ruby Rose, send us a photo.
Yeah.
She looked magnificent. Honestly, she looked regal and magnificent. Her sails were well set.
Yeah, she looked great.
It was a brisk winter's morning, but we have
really
that's
nice.
the contact.
So a question from T. Terry. Which of the two of you had the more sailing experience when you met, and how do your past experiences with sailing differ on how you sail together now? So I think this is true of a lot of couples who don't learn to sail together. There's obviously always one that has the passion initially, and then the other part of the couple has to
Endure.
endure. So Nick sailed before I met him. He'd been sailing for about 5 years, maybe a bit more, and he already had a boat. He was onto his second boat at the time, a 32-foot hands, and yeah, when we met, he basically said, look, I sail on the weekends, so if you don't sail, or if you're not interested in learning to sail, then essentially we'll never see each other. And that was literally one of the first things he said to me, and I was like, right, okay.
Well, it sounds a bit...
Looks like I've got my work cut out for me.
Well, look, I spent every weekend sailing and fixing our boat, fixing my boat at the time, so it really, you've got to be upfront with these people. You've got to be upfront when you start a relationship, eh?
Yes,
yes. Upfront. And I was upfront.
You were very upfront.
I was.
So now, obviously, I think that we have different kind of skill sets and kind of little jobs that we do on board. Mm-hmm. But it's fair to say that Nick is definitely the more experienced and capable sailor.
I'm not sure, actually. I would probably go to say that our skill sets are equal. They're different but equal. I think that when it comes to sailing, I'm not talking about boat maintenance. I think that you know just about as much as I do now, and the gap is so small. I guess if you want to put this in in perspective, probably when I met you, I'd probably sailed a couple of 1,000 miles, right?
Yeah. And
now we must have sailed, say, 27,000 miles, of which you've done 25 of those. So literally, it's like that you don't know. You haven't done that much less than I have. Yeah. So.
Can we just get the composition a bit better, because it's annoying me just slightly more in your direction? Okay. There we are.
So any further questions?
Yeah.
What's the next question? While you're waiting for the next question,
yes.
There are apparently 1,100 people watching, and we only have 373 likes. So what are you doing? I do understand for people watching on a TV, you can't like it because there's no button, and I don't know why that is. But I'd like to see some of you at least clicking. What does Pete say? Smashing it.
Oh, we don't need to go
We
there,
don't need
though.
to smash anything.
No, we don't do that. But look, Chick Flick Cherry says you two look great, and frankly, more of those compliments. I wouldn't say no to more of those compliments, because I feel like I need that at 9 o'clock in the morning after like a fairly average night's sleep.
I feel like an aging aunt. I think that's what I'm turning into. I'm turning into an aging aunt. I'm kind of looking at fur-lined boots now with chunky zips and thinking, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Gavin asks a sensible question, which is, what are your cruising plans once you take delivery?
Well. Look, so we came from the Patreon feed an hour ago where someone asked exactly the same, like, what are your delivery plans? And the very succinct answer is we don't know. With COVID and everything, we don't know what's going to happen. So we have flexible plans. We probably will get the boat shipped somewhere. But our options are, number one, sail it from Vietnam and just sail around Asia and then sail across the Indian Ocean. That's number one. That involves doing nothing, no shipping. Option two is to sail it to Singapore and then get it shipped to Europe for the boat shows. Option three is sail it to Singapore and then have it shipped to Miami or somewhere. And we are lucky in that we got off the boat with very little, like a couple of rucksacks and 4 or 5 boxes, and we can just move that anywhere in the world. So we don't have that much stuff. And I think that really we've got to the point now where wherever the boat is delivered, we'll then go and buy linen and towels and stuff there. We're not that, we'll do it that way. So I think that's what we'll do. But again, we do hope to get into Vietnam probably by the second half of October. I'd like to say that I was in Vietnam, hopefully after Annapolis.
Annapolis?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, after the Annapolis boat show, that's just a time frame.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not I'm there or not. I think that If I can, I will make it to Annapolis. And I say I because I don't think Teresa's going to be allowed to leave. So it may just be me.
Yes.
And no harm can come from me being allowed to Annapolis on my own without my chaperone. Can it?
It's
no
probably
harm.
best that I'm...
no harm can come to me.
I'm left in, kind of in the dark as far as your...
What goes on tour stays on tour.
That's right, what goes on. Exactly, it stays on tour.
All 1,200 of you saw that.
Yeah, no, really. That's right. Okay, so Pretty Girl says, where are you sailing in the next few weeks? So we have... So next week's episode, as in the episode being released on Tuesday, is where we kind of arrive in Australia, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's a really kind of offbeat, like different episode. It's not what we normally do, so I hope that you like it. If you don't want to miss it, subscribe to our channel and press the notification bell. And then the week later...
That was pretty smooth. Oh, you did that.
Oh yeah.
Carry on.
I just slipped that in there. And a week later, so week Tuesday, will be our very first sailing episode in Australia. So we obviously have already done some sailing, like talking real time. We've already done some sailing in Australia, and we are going to continue that. We will primarily be focusing on the New South Wales coast and also Queensland, two fantastic cruising grounds here in Australia. So we're super, super excited to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, another good question from Cheryl. Why did you choose to stop sailing now instead of closer to when the new boat will be finished? That's a good question.
It is a good question. So, again, we were talking about this before in the Patreon feed. It goes back about 3 years to when we were living in Charleston, when we had a choice with Ruby Rose 1 to continue through to the South Pacific or to sail back to Europe. And because we knew that Ruby Rose wasn't quite right for the South Pacific, we chose to take her back to Europe. At that point, we had a choice to go into the Mediterranean again or to go north. And 2 years ago, almost to the day, and it came down to the decision the week before. It's not like this was all pre-planned. We were sailing in the Mediterranean. We got through Gibraltar, I think in what was it? It must have been this time 2 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was 2 years ago. And it was like, do we turn left and go through the French canals, or do we turn right and go to the Greek islands? And again, a week beforehand, we didn't know what we were doing. We, as you know, if you've watched our videos, we went through the French canals. And at that point, once we turned left, we knew we had to sell the boat because we were heading home. And we got to La Rochelle in Western France 18 months ago. And again, this is pre-COVID. We knew we had one season left. We could have taken her back to the UK, and we could have just sailed her, like Uma have done, up to Norway, and that was our plan B. To go to the Netherlands, sail around Holland, sail around Norway, have a really good look, see those parts of the world. And we didn't. I think it was made easy. COVID, we were pretty lucky last year to get any sailing done because of COVID. We were stopped from sailing, then we were allowed to sail for 3 months, which corresponded perfectly with sailing season. And then the new owners of Ruby Rose actually drove out. They had been in contact with us for a while. We got this random email. We were getting a lot of emails from people saying, is your boat for sale? Will you take $40,000 and a bag of chips for her? And we're like, no, the price is the price. So we had an offer on Ruby Rose. We had a Frenchman actually put an offer in on Ruby Rose. He backed out because he couldn't sell his own boat. And then just a random, the new owners kind of drove out to France and said, yeah, we'll have her and take her back to Marina when you're ready. So at that point, this was probably July, we were committed, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And also at that point, the main issue really in terms of how this kind of relatively long gap between Ruby Rose 1 and Ruby Rose 2 came about is because originally when we first signed with Seawind, they were predicting a June or July 2021 delivery date, because at that point it was pre-COVID. So we kind of decided, okay, well, we'll sell Ruby Rose in 2020 and then take delivery of Ruby Rose 2 in kind of mid-2021. And then by the time we kind of committed to selling Ruby Rose, that delivery date had been pushed out, but we'd already been down that path of going to sell Ruby Rose. And also we were already physically, geographically in, northern France and the UK by this point, and we were starting to become really concerned about the feasibility of even being able to keep hold of Ruby Rose for another 12 months and sail like in summer 2021, because we didn't know what was happening with COVID. So we kind of made the decision to just continue with that plan and just deal with the gap later. Essentially, we're like, we're going to have a long gap. We're just going to deal with that another day and just sell Ruby Rose as per the original plan. Okay, so I think that answers that question. So moving on, there's a couple of questions that I just want to...
Should we do some quick fire ones?
Yeah, let's try and do quick fire, not like 5-minute long ones. Okay, quick fire. Tom, why would Teresa not be allowed to leave Australia? I want to get my COVID vaccine before I leave Australia. And Australia's vaccine rollout is...
shambolic.
Yes,
shambolic.
Shall we say, wanting. So I don't know if I'm going to get vaccinated before the end of the year, which is a real shame.
But I can fly back to the UK, get vaccinated, and then move on.
Exactly, but Nick can go back and get vaccinated earlier. There was another question.
No one feed me tequila at Annapolis if I get there.
Brian says, will you practice on a catamaran before you take delivery? Yeah, that's what... Okay, so actually that is a good segue from what we were just talking about. So this year, 2021... we had a big gap. We said, what are we going to do? We have to continue sailing. And this is actually a really great opportunity for us to learn to sail a catamaran before we take delivery of Ruby Rose 2, and to get some catamaran sailing experience, particularly on a Seawind. So that is what 2021 is essentially going to be about.
It's already been about. We've been sailing. So we knew that we were going to have this gap, as you know, by the time we committed, this is going back almost a year now, we knew we were going to be without a boat for a period of time. We didn't think it would be quite as long, but this is kind of COVID's made everything a little bit nuts. So we kind of said to Seawind, look, you know, we probably should try and learn to sail a catamaran so that we're not kind of like, you know, all fingers and thumbs when we get on board. So what happened was we picked up a Seawind 1260 a couple of months ago now, sailed it around New South Wales, and then we're sailing up the coast. We're back in Adelaide at the moment for just some family time but we're going up the coast in the 1260, and then we're sailing up to the tropics in Queensland and sailing the Whitsundays. So, you know, from our point of view, we get to see Australia. It's stunningly beautiful. I'm still scared of swimming in the water because everything bloody kills you.
Or stings you.
Or stings you.
Or just hurts a lot.
Or wants to, you know, bend you over, a Korean work surface. And anyway, there's some naughty things.
You didn't have to go there.
No.
This is family television.
Yes.
Ish. Okay, so... Sorry, had you finished?
Yeah, so basically we are sailing a catamaran this season. We are sailing in Australia. We're learning to sail on a 1260. Not learning to sail, we're transitioning. Let's make it slightly less like we're kind of like, you know, wandering around with our thumb in our mouths.
Transitioning.
Yeah, we're transitioning. And all I would say, it's not really a transition. It's just like everything's so bloody easy. It is really easy.
Yeah.
That wasn't really quick fire, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, quick fire. Let's try quick fire again.
Okay. Quick fire. What's the new boat?
Seawind 1370. Woo! Yeah, next.
Once you have a cat, will you consider starting a family?
Yes. No. No, we've got a cat. No. I don't think that's... No.
Jeez, you made Nick really nervous with that question.
Your dad asked me the other day, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of family, how is your new baby niece? So my sister had a baby earlier late last year, and that was one of the reasons why we really absolutely felt that we had to get back to Australia, and one of the reasons why we are not on a boat for the entire year, because I want to spend some time with my sister. And,
she's immigrating. She's going to New Zealand, so we're just trying to cram it on.
Exactly. My sister's going to New Zealand in June, so to live.
Yeah.
So I am spending as much time as I can with my baby niece, who is obviously the cutest, most cleverest, most advanced, most delightful baby in the history of the world.
All right, quick fire, girl.
Just had to go on about that for a minute.
While you're waiting for quick fire, there are 1,500 people watching, 700 likes. If you haven't smashed or hit that like button in a McKinnon style way, if you could please just click the like button. Let's just use something slightly more English. Click the like button.
If you please.
If you please, sir. Anyway, next.
After you initially left, how did you handle parting ways with Ruby Rose 1?
Oh, so do you know what? Yeah. A lot of people have watched that video. Ruby Rose 1 was an amazing boat. It was really bloody stressful getting. I was pretty ill, actually. again, and for some reason I didn't video this, probably because I felt so ill. I ended up in hospital in Jersey with a stomach ulcer, which a lot of it was, it's not stress related. It's just like too much cream, cider, and fast, not fast, rich food in France. So I felt really rough. For those of you who have been maybe, had to deal with stomach ulcers, it's not that you feel like pain, it's just that you feel bloody awful. I felt so ill. So getting the boat ready to sail, there was this kind of like 2 or 3 weeks of just like working constantly on getting the boat ready. And as a matter of pride, to make sure that the new boat owner takes the boat and it's done. Because we didn't sell it through a broker, so, I didn't want to, I just wanted to make sure that, we handed over the keys and said, look, there you are, off you go. There's coffee capsules, there's milk in the fridge. And that's what we did, and we just literally left them everything and said, look, take what you need.
It was a bit of a manic.
And so then we got the boat back to Lymington. We had a pretty difficult passage getting the boat back, just navigationally. Again, if you watch that episode, the tide didn't quite make, so it was a long old day. And so by the time we got off the boat, I think it was just too manic to sit back and take into account. And by the way, who's that? I can't say. Zeke, thank you so much, sir. And Captain McFingal, that's very kind of both.
And Captain McFingal, who I really hope that's your real name, asks, isn't a catamaran just a ute of the boat world? And also someone then says, what's a ute?
Okay, well, so ute is utility vehicle. I didn't realize that. So,
yeah.
Again, look, all I would say about our time sailing the Seawind so far, I would say we've got enough sea miles under our belts now to probably be able to make some sort of informed decision. It is pretty damned easy to sail. Everything is so easy. I can put just from the point of view, it's so much bigger and there's so much space to move around that everything from anchoring to raising the sail to, to the space that we've got is easy. In the first 2 weeks of sailing, I think for the first 2 or 3 days, as with Ruby Rose, I would check the battery monitors like every morning. Like every morning I'd be like, obsessively, can we make coffee? Do we have enough, juice in the batteries to make coffee? After 2 or 3 days, I stopped checking. Like literally, we don't have to worry about battery power. We don't have to worry about water. It's all pretty sweet. Yeah.
Oh, very sweet. Yeah. As you'll see when,
those videos
over the coming months.
Yeah.
So
still quick fire, babe.
Is it? Because I feel like it's like
all right, okay,
that slipped.
The next 3 answers, 30 seconds.
Okay.
Go.
Hey, did you guys meet up with Zatara?
Yes.
They're lovely. Very lovely. If you have Ruby Rose 2 shipped to the US, would you cross the Panama Canal to go to the South Pacific or just roam around the East Coast?
I think we'd do a season in the Caribbean and then Panama.
Yeah.
Because I miss the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I had an Uber driver the other day that was from Jamaica, and it made me realise how much I miss the music. There you
go. Huge thanks to Brizzy Girl there. That was really lovely.
Thanks, Brizzy Girl. All that says is hit the like button.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so...
Next 30-second question, my love. So we have 1,600 people watching now and 1,000 likes, which basically means that people are hitting the like button more often.
Well, that's good. It's because we keep going on about it all the time.
No, that's what Pete says. Anyway, keep going. 30-second question. It's taking you longer to ask the questions.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not prepared for such a kind of quick.
Exactly. See, normally you get.
Okay.
Roll on, my love.
Are you naming the catamaran Ruby Rose 2?
Yes.
Okay. And how long do you feel that you can sail on her compared to Ruby Rose 1?
Long, as in how long we can stay on board without getting off, or how many?
I don't know.
To answer both parts of that, I think we could live on almost indefinitely without getting off. And I think from a sailing perspective, I think we will have a much higher capacity water maker, which means that we should have fresh water indefinitely. We have the battery power to never really get off the boat with the solar. So we should be able to regenerate all our electricity. I think the engines are... I'd like to think we can get a year out of a tank of fuel. With the usage that we plan, and the only limiting factor is the fact that I can't fish, so it's going to be food. But we've literally got 2 freezers, cockpit freezers. We are going to have a lot of storage capacity and we will go to vacuum pack a lot of food. So it's literally our limiting factor of getting off the boat is going to be produce.
Why would you ship Ruby Rose 2 instead of sailing her?
They want us. They want the boat shows. That's exactly what they want. So it's to do with, we could sail her anywhere, and I have no problem. The Glasgow Nomad. That sounds like a pub I used to go to.
Sounds like a very fun
So
pub.
thank you, the Glasgow Nomad. I hope you are a pub. So yeah, so they want the boat at boat shows, and that's our reasoning. So thank you.
What is the lead time to get Ruby Rose 2?
Who does that say?
Wow, it says thanks for being you from Marius.
Marius, thank you, Marius.
Thank you, mate.
Okay.
That's really kind.
Anyway,
lead time.
lead time.
Ruby Rose 2.
So as we have mentioned a few minutes ago, I know that we kind of like babble on a little bit. They are starting construction in 2 weeks. So next month. So yeah, so we're pretty excited, and we will be filming this. We are working very hard with Vietnam to make sure that although we can't be there at present, they are filming for us, and we will put it all together and bring you monthly updates, hopefully, on the build of the new boat. So all the technical bits, all the technical information that you email and message us and WhatsApp us constantly about, we will bring this to you. So we are currently doing test shoots with them so that they've got the camera set up as we want it. They've got a very similar camera to us. So yeah, we'll get all that bit. So you will get monthly Ruby Rose 2 updates. And then as soon as we can get to Vietnam, I will be there filming for you all. And I say I again, just because Therese may not be able to get there as soon as I can.
Yeah, so there's a few of you kind of saying that you're fully vaccinated now, and that's amazing news. I'm very jealous. So that's fantastic.
Yep.
So John says, you don't need sailing practice on a Seawind. The boat nearly sails itself. Actually, that's not far from the truth. It was so easy.
It is pretty sweet.
Yeah. There's quite a few people trolling you about the baby situation. It says, Ruby Rose 2 is much bigger and Apple babies will arrive soon after. There was another comment saying, you would be a good father. Yeah, there's quite a few comments about that.
Yeah.
So I think that everyone saw you like stuttering your way through an answer and thought that was a good opportunity to tease you.
Because saying things like that isn't going to... I know what this lot are like. This lot have been... this is like the... 1,700 is a small gig. There's 1,700 people watching this. And it's like a small gig of like pretty hardcore friends who will, at some point now... This will be like a big night in my local with everyone ripping the piss out of me.
Yeah, and the WhatsApp group, our patron WhatsApp group, is probably going mental right now.
Yeah, all right. Well, I can't have my eye on everything.
No, okay. Also,
look at it. It lights up like a bloody Christmas tree. Anyway,
also quite a few people asking about us getting married and having a wedding. Do you want to answer that one?
Yes. So our wedding was planned for the 25th of June last year. That was our news.
No, it was September.
September.
It was planned for the 25th of June this year.
Oh yeah. So we were meant to get married this year. So
we were meant to be getting married last year.
So we booked a wedding twice, and thank you to both Bruce and to
Candy Sue the Blue.
Sue the Blue.
That's great.
Yeah, I love these kind of like names. Candy Sue the Blue.
Yeah.
That
rolls off the tongue. Really
that sounds
nicely.
like that sounds like a packet of lollies and a stripper. Yeah, we meant to get married. We booked the wedding twice, and we've kind of just given up for now. Who's that, my love? I can't say that. Oh, it's Stimson.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So anyway, we've given up booking now until people can travel. So we are going to get married. I promised her that she can make an honest man of me. There you go.
How long have we been together for?
12 years, my love. 12 long years. So yeah, we are getting married. You're all invited, obviously, but we can't until we know that all our families can travel.
Yeah, we want our families to both be there, obviously. So, it's while Australia have a travel ban in place, we essentially can't get married until that's lifted.
And all I would say is that we did, in the fantasy land that we had set out, once think about having the wedding on the boat in somewhere like Thailand. And that may become a reality now.
It may do.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Okay.
That would make good TV.
Well, I think the point of getting married isn't to make good TV. It's just to get married. So,
whoops, dug myself another hole
there.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Keep coming with your questions, guys. I'm trying to answer them. If we haven't answered them so far,
you just
then
keep banging on.
I've lost track of it. So please just pop. We haven't answered your questions so far, ask them again right now, and we'll see if we can get to them. Jonathan says you both look refreshed. That's nice.
Yeah, thank you. I feel refreshed.
Yeah, you are.
honestly, I looked at the video that we put out a few weeks ago in Jersey. I looked bloody awful. I mean,
Yeah, you did.
I did. I looked so awful. And the other thing is, I looked so fat as well.
Aww.
No, I just got a tubby little bastard, honestly. Yeah. all that French cider and cream and cheese. It doesn't do you well. I've got, I've got to.
You're in Australia now. You can try and. I mean, our obesity rates are pretty high, but
yeah,
you can at least pretend at a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, but there's that brewery we keep going to. That, yeah, exactly.
Okay, questions about whether we are going to get the boat before or after Billy and Sierra on Tours Endless Summer, and also Matt and Jessica on MJ Sailing.
So I think Billy and Sierra are getting theirs way before us. I don't know. We haven't talked to Billy and Sierra in ages. Like, they've been sailing in Florida. So I think their boat's coming way before us. So ours is going to be February. So we're now in April. So we're about 10 months out from getting our boat. So Billy and Sierra and Matt and Jessica, I don't know when they've built it. I thought they said that it was 18 months for them to get their boat finished.
At least I think. I think Jessica's said to me more like 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll get it after Billy and Sarah and before Matt and
We'll
Jessica.
be sailing in spring 2022. So this time next year we'll be sailing.
This time next year we'll be on our boat sailing. How did you eliminate lagoons and Fontaine Pajots?
Oh, I wish
Quite
I could.
easily.
I wish I could swear on this. Okay, all right. No, let me just put up with an answer which is non-defamatory. Okay, so we essentially looked at cost versus build quality. Those are the two that, in our non-professional opinion, there you go. There were aspects. If you watch the Fontaine Pajot video, there were aspects of that build that I really that I wasn't happy with. Now, just to put this out there, loads of Fontaine Pajots have crossed oceans. For every time I say anything negative about any boat, we get a raft of owners saying, "How very dare you!" Literally, I'm not going to mention Seawind, but there are certain aspects of the Fontaine Pajot that, to me, just don't match up with the quality of even like lagoons. And honestly, I think the problem is that if you look at the extras, like what everything costs for you to kind of like add, things like gen sets. I mean, the Fontaine Pajot gen set was so expensive. Like, it was like 30,000 euros, and it's a 10,000 euro gen set, and they're charging you 20,000 to plumb it in, and it's a couple. Essentially, the engine, the beds for it are already in the mold. They've just got to put two skin fittings in and wire it in. Why are they charging 20,000 for that? So the markups piss me off. Anyway, next. Anyway, so I say thank you to both David and David. Thank you, sir.
It's the two Davids. So David Grouse says, thanks for all the great content, especially being a key reason my wife has agreed to cruise the world with me.
That's what. Do you know what this is?
And he said he's just become a patron, and we just saw the email come up. So thanks
fantastic.
for joining us, David.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, look, honestly, there you go, David and Jill. So say hello to your wife as well, Jill. So look. This is what we love to hear. We were talking, if you haven't seen the Sydney Morning Herald or Forbes over the the Sydney Morning Herald is this morning. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of articles that we are featuring in, because I guess at the moment people coming out of this pandemic are starting to turn to, well, look, we've been locked up for a year. There's no point in saving for this retirement. Let's just go and do it now. So being able to get messages like that from people that say, actually, we've taken a leaf out of your book and Delos and other people, and we are deciding to do this and take steps, because it's not just about showing you like us drinking rum, although that is a fantastic part of what we do, but it is about showing you how you can get from like A to Z, because a lot of people sit there and go, it's got to be difficult. Like, we're living in a in a 4-bedroom house in Minnesota, and we want to get to this life, and how the hell do we go from here to here without bankrupting ourselves, ruining the kids' lives, and not ending up divorced? And there is a simple pathway for you to get to that, and hopefully we are inspiring you in some way, and that's what gives me a lot of warmth
in your heart.
Yeah.
What's left
in my cold blackened heart.
Okay, are we still doing quickfire?
Yes.
I feel like that's going to fall by the way.
Keep going.
Did sailing with the winds influence your decision to buy a cat?
I think it sealed it. I think we went, yes.
We went already wanting that, and when during that week, we're like, we couldn't go back after that.
Yeah.
That was definitely, it sealed the deal.
Yeah.
What do you have against induction hobs, says Jason?
I have nothing against induction hobs. We wanted an induction hob on Ruby Rose. There's a lot of talk on our WhatsApp group, the 3070, about why we can't have an induction hob, why we're not having an induction hob, and essentially a lot of it is to do with while you can clearly run an induction hob on with the capacity that that the 1370 has, to run that and the oven, it's a bit too much. So they want a boat that everyone can use, and so no one is going to be able to say, well, we can't have these two on at once. They want, the functionality is not there. All I would say about induction hobs, and I'm going to say this, we do love cooking, and I've been cooking, as a hobby for years. It's not just making dinner for myself. We, over the last couple of months, have been into a lot of Airbnbs, haven't we?
Yes.
Because we're travelling around, we're doing filming around here, so we travel into a lot of Airbnbs. And more often than not, those Airbnbs have induction hobs, don't they?
Yeah.
And they are bloody awful.
Yeah.
From a cooking,
they're really annoying.
From a perspective of cooking, they are awful things. I know that probably everyone's going to be like, oh, they're amazing. They're not. They're not amazing compared to a bloody great gas burner.
Yeah, they are. Like, anyway, there are advantages to induction hobs.
Yes.
Okay, so quickfire.
All right.
Must keep reminding you.
There's 1,200 people hit the like button. I think we need a few more, because someone could just, while you're getting on with this. Anyway, quickfire.
What's the most difficult part of starting to sail full time?
Starting to sail full time is actually having the finances and the gumption to get going.
I think the gumption is
the gumption. Yeah. So gumption. Sorry for those of you who don't understand. Is that a universal word? Or gumption?
Yeah, gumption.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, getting across the line takes a lot of balls.
Yeah, it does, and a lot of conviction.
Yeah,
I think. Okay. Daniel has volunteered himself, instead of us having babies, to just adopt him because he's 56 and fully potty trained.
Well, you don't, if you're not shitting the bed, mate, then yeah, excellent.
You're very welcome.
We've just adopted a child.
Yay.
But I've now got this idea of some 56-year-old calling me daddy as I wander around in a set of arseless chaps and a leather hat.
I thought we were giving this
yeah,
family friendly.
Sorry.
Okay, are we going to meet up with Nikki and Jason again?
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely hope to.
Yeah.
They're in Tonga at the moment, I'm sure many of you know.
Yes.
So, yeah, hopefully we get to see them again sometime soon. Scott says, rather than going through the Panama Canal, why not go around South America?
Why not?
I would love to do that. I don't know whether...
Cold.
Yeah.
Cold.
Nick gets very grumpy when he's too cold, and then I have to deal with him being grumpy, which is really annoying for me. So I think it's in my best interest to keep Nick in the tropics where he's the happiest.
Keep Nick in the tropics like some sort of like semi-shaved ape. Hey, like a semi-shaved ape.
Keep him in his natural habitat.
Shaving a monkey and stick him at the helm. That's what you get. All right.
Okay. Oh, how old resin? Will it be vinyl ester or polyester?
Polyester. No, vinyl ester.
Vinyl ester.
Vinyl ester.
Wait a minute.
Vinyl ester.
Yeah.
Vinyl ester, carbon fibre. And yeah, look, we've done a lot of stuff. We put those technical episodes out, and there's a lot of stuff that we left out because it was just too geeky about like the composition of the fiberglass mats, the matting that they use, and how there are so many different grades of fiberglass matting. And I guess the way you can look at it is if you buy towels, like the weave of towels, you can get really good towels and really bad towels. And so they use really high quality matting, and then there's a lot of carbon fibre put in it. So yeah.
Okay, Julia says, hi friends, can someone catch me up? What are they doing in Australia? Julia, I will answer you, unless someone has already answered you. Because other people might want to know. We are currently in Australia. If you tune in to Tuesday morning / Monday night, depending on where in the world you are, episode, then we explain everything. That's kind of the catch-up episode where we come very close to real time, and we will explain what we're doing in Australia, what 2021 holds. But essentially, we are here not only to see my family, because that's a priority for me at the moment, but also to spend a lot of time sailing the east coast of Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, the Whitsundays. It's going to be amazing. We're really excited. Just
one other thing while I've got you on all this, all of you, there's like 2,000 of you watching. A lot of people are saying that their notification bell's been switched off for our channel. I don't think it's YouTube have got anything against us, but I think that sometimes when you do the updates, the auto updates. So can you just check your notification bell so that you do get the notifications? So yeah, that's Tuesday, and the new trailer's coming out. And for all of you that keep asking, we've also got our final Technical Tuesday shot on Ruby Rose, which actually tells you how to fix the engine hour meter on your Yanmar or your Volvo engines. And I found out the other day that it's both. So for those of you who own boats, the engine hour meter, the LCD engine hours goes after a few years because they get damp. You can literally, there's a $30 fix. So you haven't got to spend $800 on it. We can fix that for $30 for you.
What is the reason Ruby Rose 1, which was our Southerly 38, is not best suited to the South Pacific?
Just the size of it. We wanted more storage for like produce, and we wanted a longer boat, so a faster boat. So again, after sailing that boat for 8 years across 2 oceans, we probably would tell you that we average 5.5 to 6 knots, I think, across an ocean. That's about what I would say. Yeah.
5.5 to 6 across an ocean.
Yeah, that's about right. So basically, we did 6.5 going one way and 4.9 the other way. So that's where we are. Ruby Rose 2 should average 10. Easy 10.
Hopefully more.
Yeah.
Fernando says hello from Brazil.
Brazil.
Can you remind us of the price of Ruby Rose 2?
I think she's $689,000. There you go.
US. There's been a couple of questions actually.
Yep.
About the cost.
But it's all on Seawind's website. Just whiz over to the Seawind's website and see what she costs. But unfortunately, you can't get a boat for a few years. They're trying to ramp up production. They've opened a massive new factory like last month. Like honestly, Shane at Seawind, he's run off his bloody feet. Like apart from the fact that his wife's pregnant, he's designing this boat, opening a new factory, dealing with us, dealing with all these customers. So so hopefully they will be able to speed production up a little bit over the time. But that's my speculation and not knowledge.
So Patrick says, no more Tech Tuesdays. Yes, no, definitely there will be more Tech Tuesdays.
Oh, there will be, definitely. There's loads more Technical Tuesdays, because I think that what we'll do is, there's loads of things that we've got planned for Technical Tuesdays that are going to be like more technique based. And I think the formats may change a little bit. But yes, we're definitely going to do technical episodes because you tend to really like them. So yeah, if you like it, we will film it.
For sure, yeah. You just tell us what you want, and we'll try and make it happen. Essentially,
yeah. But obviously, those chaps are never going to happen.
No one wants that, though.
I don't know. I mean, there's 2,000 people. I think maybe if there's if we get like 200 people saying we want to see you in leather chaps, then no, it's not going to happen. Therese, quick fire before I dig myself into a hole that I can't get myself out of.
You can always get yourself out of a hole. A hole. A hole.
Yeah, again, I'm just leaving that statement to rest.
Without upgrading to the 1370, what would you change in the 1260 that can actually be done?
Okay, so the boat where you're sailing, and again, thanks to Phil, it's his boat. It's a beautiful boat. I think that we would probably take some weight from it. He's got a lot of kit on it. Saying that, having sailed a 1260 now and continuing to sail a 1260, I would take that around the world in a heartbeat. It's a beautiful boat and it's super strong.
Yeah.
So, and a question that we get as a segue to this is, would you buy a 1260? The answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. We love the 1260. What would be your second choice out of the 1370? It would be the 1260 for me, but not Seawind.
Ultramare 51.
Yeah. Don says the Winds have just said that they've been approved to travel to New Zealand. That's awesome.
We'll see Nikki and Jason shortly then.
Yeah, hopefully we can go to New Zealand and see them. There's quite a few requests for more Technical Tuesdays. So that is definitely something that people want. Mike, thank you. Are you sailing alone or with someone else, and do you find it more comfortable than Ruby Rose 1? We are sailing just the two of us.
Yeah, it's only us. She is more comfortable in certain ways. I think, she is more comfortable. Just as a lifestyle choice, it is more comfortable. I think that I'd be... if we were sailing European waters and French waters, I probably wouldn't have bought a cat. I want to be at anchor. I want to live in the tropics. And that's our plan. So tropical life, at anchor, catamaran perfectly. If we were sailing Western France, I'd be on a 35-foot boat, monohull. It's literally, it's more suited to that. So there you go.
Paul, who's a fellow 1370 owner, says, we've ordered the main jib and screecher from the factory. Based on your experience on the 1260, what would be the first additional sail you would recommend?
Doubt you were... Okay, so did we talk about this?
No, that was the
Patreon feed. So I get confused. So people are asking about our sail plan. We are going with the GPL light skin sails. So we are making it like a race, not a racer. We're making it fast. So the sails we're going for GPL light skin. So that's black carbon sails. The screecher we're going for a carbon version of that, and we're going for a big asymmetric. Again, a lot of people ask us about parasailers for this. I had a big meeting with John at Doyle Sails. We just happened to be in Sydney at the same time. And what he was saying is that he's designed the sails, or they've designed the sails specifically for this boat. It's not like they've just taken a set of measurements and said, look, that will fit that boat. They've actually gone and said, look, the 1370 is this. They've got all the plans for the 1370 from the naval architects. So they've built these sails. And a lot of people ask us about parasailers, but he was saying that the boat is designed, or the sails are designed, to keep the apparent wind at about 90 to 100 degrees to get the maximum VMG out of it. So parasailers, we're not going with a parasailer, we're going with a full asymmetric, and we will just jibe the boat down the run line.
Yeah. Where will Ruby 2 Rose? Where will Ruby Rose 2 be registered?
Probably British. I think she'll be British.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's probably the most likely.
Yeah. Why a 1260 or 1370 over a St. Francis 50? Well, it was as we said, our second option or choice was an Outremer. I think we just gravitated towards the performance boats.
That's it. And St. Francis 50 is a beautiful boat. She's not a fast boat, and everyone's like, people will be like, I've seen a St. Francis doing 15 knots. Insert the word lagoon, Fontaine Roger. Any boat in high winds will go fast. It's about light air performance, and realistically speaking, when you are day sailing, unless you are like that crazy Viking Eric, we love, we tend to go out when we've got nice weather. It's fair weather sailing, and I make no bones about that. You don't want the shit knocked out of you. You want to go out there, you want to be able to kind of sail nicely, and that means that you need a boat that's going to have good light air performance. We've done this, when we went to, this is harking back to St. Lucia, when we were when we arrived in St. Lucia in 2015. Someone said to us, look, if you're going north, you need south in the wind, and if you're going south, you need north in the wind. So you always need the wind a little bit abaft of the beam. And the wind, when you're in the Windward Islands, you're going from north to south, or not south to north, because it's an island chain. And we thought, don't worry about that. We'll do it our way. And we got the 7 bells knocked out of us. So even when you're in the Caribbean at anchor, on a week-to-week basis, you can pick a good weather window. So light air performance is really important to any sailor, whether you are a weekend cruiser, whether you are a day sailor, whether you are a full-time liveaboard. So I think the more time I spend on boats, the more I realise that, there's very few people that really do want those uncomfortable, hard passages. And as someone said, because I think in our last live stream, we were kind of complimenting Eric, for those of you who don't know, no bullshit, just sailing. Eric Anderas, he's a brilliant sailor. Goes out like in Force 10 and does mad stuff. It's not personally for me. It's not, and that's just the way I am.
We like watching him do it.
We love watching him, but I wouldn't want to be.
So do a lot of other people, but yeah.
So, and as someone pointed out, he doesn't live on his boat full time. He doesn't go out and do that all the time. That's just, he goes and does his sailing.
Yeah.
So I like fair weather, light to moderate wind sailing, and it's a better way of being a good sailor. Sailing, for those of you who have raced boats, sailing on light wind days brings out the sailors.
Question, your clear framed sunglasses, what are they?
These are, I've got them here. Someone actually put up, someone said to me the other day, why are you using those cheap sunglasses? You look like a child. These are Oakley Frogskins. They are Oakley Frogskins with clear frames and iridium lenses, iridium polarized lenses, and I've scratched the hell out of them, so I need a new pair.
Have you developed any concerns or dislikes of a catamaran over a monohull?
Not concerns or dislikes. I think that the conversation that comes around all the time is it's not the same. You can't feel it. You can't feel the boat. It's not like sailing a monohull. Absolutely correct. It's not. But you know what? We've done some long passages up the coast, and being in an enclosed helm position where I can't feel the wind on my face is pretty nice. You know, it's all right, I can feel the wind in my hair and I can see the sails. I'm like, yeah, all right. Do that for like 4 or 5 nights, you know, on night watch, and then all of a sudden you just want a warm bed. So yeah, you can't feel it as much. That's a plus and a minus. You sail by numbers. That's a plus. You know, it's a positive and a negative. There's nothing I don't like about it. I think marina costs, if we had to keep it in a marina, would be something that would become a dislike of mine.
Yeah.
Pretty sharp.
A dislike of ours, yes,
sharpish.
definitely.
Thank you again to Mike for that. Who's actually, those questions come pretty nice.
What are the engines on Yanmar?
Yanmar 57s. We're going for the upgraded engines, so we're going for those, because there's very little more weight in them. And it means, not that we can go hooning around at like 12 knots, it means that we can get more efficiency at lower engine revs with one engine. So 239s, you know, if you want to make 8 knots, you have to probably have them both running. 157, you can have them running at just one engine, which means you can keep one hull silent for the off watch to sleep.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Nick says, aren't Ultramarines by character less livable? I mean, the way that they are designed kind of is, because they have dagger boards and very, very narrow hulls.
So the hull profile is about the same. The difference is the dagger boards. If you go onto an Ultramar 45, they are, which is La Vagabond's boat, they've got the dagger board casing, which means that there's just not, it's literally the physics of it. There's not as much space because the dagger boards are there. So you get more space in a non-dagger board boat.
Yes. Thank you for finishing my answer for me.
Why don't you read the question and do the 30 seconds?
Does anyone else have that? Okay. Mark says, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? No,
Therese.
no, we're not going there.
You can watch this later. Otherwise, Teresa will give me a dry slap. Next.
Okay. Yeah, another question. Are we going to have an SSB radio on Ruby Rose 2? No.
No, I don't think so. I think the technology now has passed.
Yeah, it is. And that leads me to another question, which I can't see right now, but I've seen pop up. What about our satellite communication situation? What are we doing for that?
We will wait and see. We will definitely have some SATCOMs for something, but I haven't researched it yet. But it's not going to be a big dome. I think we still have high hopes for Starlink. So if any one of you, there's 2,100 people watching this. If any of you know Elon,
that's a lot.
Yeah, if anyone knows Elon, you could just get him to ping us a line. We'd love to showcase that the Starlink system on a boat.
Yes, well.
See, someone smashed the like button. See, someone smashed it.
Thank you, Doug. That's very, very generous of you.
Thanks,
Thank
Doug.
you so much.
Did you have a question, Doug? Seeing as the thing is, these come up in colour, so it's easier to see the questions.
Yeah.
So, Doug, if you have a question, ask and we'll get that answered for you.
For sure.
In the meantime, Therese, what else do we have?
Have you met up with or met the crew of Sailing Umar? Not since we met them in
Southampton. No, but we will do again. They're lovely people.
Yeah,
really,
they're currently
really genuinely nice
they're
people.
currently doing some really awesome sailing.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Nick is
It's
definitely
cold.
not jealous.
Nicked Mitzi cold. Right, next.
Another question before actually that I forgot to ask is will we ever sail the Baltic?
No, not in this boat.
I really want to sail the Baltic.
If we had, look, everyone has dream boats. In the same way that you have dream cars, you've got the cars you put on the wall as a teenager, whether it's a Porsche 911 or a Ferrari 328 or a Dino or whatever. Like, my dream boat, 1370 is a pretty amazing boat. Gunboat's a pretty amazing boat. But the Puffin 50, I love the Puffin 50. Like, if I really, in another incarnation, another chapter, like a Puffin 50.
For high latitude.
For high latitude.
Would you do that? Would you do high latitude sailing if you had a Puffin 50?
Yeah.
Because I'll hold you to that.
Yeah. You buy me a Puffin 50. Only $1 million.
Yeah, I'll just lie.
I'll have 2, please. But they're beautiful. Like, still, like, they're beautiful boats. So yeah, head over to the Puffin 50 website and tell them we sent you.
Yeah. Doug says, "Let her speak for God's sake."
All right, sorry.
No, I think that he was referring to
Me.
Yeah.
Well, speak then.
Well, I can't get a word in.
All right, I'll shut up for 5 minutes. Go.
The problem is, Doug, that Nick can't, because he's like
jacked up
needing
on coffee.
needing these things. He can't read the questions, so I have to read out the questions, which means that I can't read a question, like I can't look through the questions and also talk at the same time because I'm not that good.
There's a question from Mike that's highlighted. Do you have to, I think the 57s are turbocharged, but I'm not allowed to speak for 5 minutes. So Therese, you have to answer 5 minutes of questions.
Well, I certainly don't know whether they're turbocharged engines.
Well,
or
I'll
not.
tap you. All right, answer the questions.
One tap for yes, two taps for no.
Go, yeah. Right, go.
Okay, hang on. I need to find a question.
See, you're just ill-prepared.
I know, well, this is the thing I wasn't expecting. Oh, okay. What tender are we going to get for Ruby Rose 2? We are going to get the high-filled 340, no centre cockpit, like centre console thing, and the outboard, I think, the 20 horsepower.
Yeah.
See how good we are at these things? With the push button start. Yay.
Great success. Right, next.
I should do that with some of the questions that you answer.
So we're doing this by mime now, are we?
Well, we can try.
All right, then. I'm not meant to be talking.
Okay. Okay, this is a good question. Peter says, with all the extra space in cabins, will you be bringing patrons on board? Obviously, post-COVID. Yes, 100%. This is one reason why we wanted the 1370 over the 1260, because the 1260 has, I would say, like 2.5 cabins, whereas the 1370 has 3 full, like queen-size cabins. So we can have 2 other couples with us, and we're definitely gonna. We couldn't really take crew on with Ruby Rose because she was so small and there was no privacy or anything like that. And from a kind of provisioning point of view, we didn't have any storage space, so provisioning for lots of people was a problem. But with Ruby Rose 2, we don't have those issues. And we are definitely going to have crew, and those crew are going to be made up of our patrons. So that's...
There will be crewing opportunities for patrons.
Yes.
Well done.
Lee says, what bloody time do you call this? He's in Portsmouth. I think it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? Why are you awake?
Lee,
to sleep.
I would love to... I can think of Lee at the moment. He's kind of like... He's wandered into his house with a traffic cone on his head, doner kebab in one hand, and a takeout 6-pack of like super strength cider in the other, and he's crashed down on his front of his TV, and he's like, what are these two doing on TV?
Yeah.
As he takes the traffic cone off his head, opens his doner kebab and starts, tell me that's what's happening.
He might just have a very respectable job that requires him to do night shifts on a Saturday night.
All right, Lee, you
like
need
an air
to...
traffic controller or something.
Yeah, Lee, tell us, are you an air traffic controller, or have you just wandered home with a traffic cone on your head and a doner kebab in one hand?
Actually, I don't think the airports are open overnight, are they? So it won't be an air traffic controller. What else is respectable? He might be like a A&E's like doctor.
An A&E stripper. Anyway, I'm not allowed to talk for 5 minutes.
Okay, why sail drives over shafts?
That's just the way the boat's designed.
I thought we were doing it.
Oh yeah, sure. All right, now.
Nick can't help himself.
Right, no,
I'm perfectly capable of answering that question.
All right, I'm going to keep quiet.
Okay. See, this is the thing. You can't, I can't do everything. This is how... Okay. Ben, what are our South Pacific plans? Well, we hope to get Ruby Rose 2 into the South Pacific at some point. Obviously, this is all dependent on where we take delivery of Ruby Rose 2, because that is up in the air as well because of COVID. You know, and essentially the logistics involved with that. So yes, our ultimate plan is to get Ruby Rose 2 into the South Pacific. We cannot wait to, take her through the Panama Canal, sail to the Galapagos, French Polynesia, all the Pacific Islands. That is something we really want to do. So hopefully we'll be able to do that soonish. 2-stroke or 4-stroke outboard is a 4-stroke, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, I do know these things. Mario says, thank you. I have a question for you guys. How do I contact you privately? So without kind of like using this as an opportunity to kind of punt out Patreon, the fact is that we get a lot of emails and messages and like DMs from all of you guys, which we love, but we don't...
We try to answer
We do try and answer them, and if they're a very kind of quick, straightforward question, like, where are you? Or like, how do I don't know, do X, Y, and Z, then we usually, if it's a 1-sentence answer, we can answer them. But really, it's just our patrons who get kind of that personalised like interaction with us. It's
just we just don't have the time. I think we had 800 messages last week. Just as an aside, asking questions about certain things. So we have to try and kind of like filter them a little bit, unless we get like a secretary, which I don't think we're going to have either. No.
So Maris, if you would like to contact us, then you can email us
if you've got a quick question.
And that all that information is on our website.
Yep.
Dave says don't get stuck in Tonga. Well, I think the winds had bad luck there, so hopefully they won't. You know what, I'm not even going to say it. Are you going to use B&G or Brain Marine?
B&G.
I was going to answer that.
Sorry.
Maybe, can you make yourself useful and actually like read some of these questions?
Can't see what's going on. No, who am I? Right.
Are you going to get wheels on the dinghy? Yes, we are. How about ocean? Here's one that you can answer because try and keep it to less than 60 seconds. How about ocean vault electric motors?
No.
Oh, okay. That was easy. Really? You're not going to go into that a bit more? Lots of people have been asking us about electric motors.
All right, so we've done all the mathematics about using electric motors. They do not have the regenerative capacity to get you the range that you need without relying on a genset. And essentially, if you're relying on a genset, you're relying on you're kind of like exchanging one problem for like a bigger one, in my opinion. Like a genset, firstly, it's unreliable. They run at a different set of revs. Secondly, why would you swap out a genset for two really, really expensive motors? Those motors are super expensive. When you could put two diesels in, and then if one diesel goes wrong, you've still got another diesel. If you've got two electric motors, and you've got a genset, and the genset goes tits up, you've lost your range again. Everything that we plan for anything in our boat is about safety and then redundancy and having redundancy. And so you are literally, I mean, those ocean vault motors are like six figures. They're nutcase expensive.
Yeah.
So honestly, there is no advantage to using ocean vault motors. And look at Jimmy Cornell. All this stuff about his electric catamaran that he was going to ghost around the world. And Outremer said to him, you need a genset. He's like, no, I don't want a genset. I'm not having a genset. I'm just going to go on electric motors and sail around the world. He turned around, came back. So, and one person I do really respect as a sailor is Jimmy Cornell. For Jimmy Cornell to turn a boat around after, all the fanfare aside, he turned that boat around, which is a really brave decision that shows the quality of him as a sailor. And he turned around after 1,000 miles. He wasn't like he's like, Zutalor, I'm coming back. Oh, he's Croatian or whatever. So, he didn't turn around out the harbour and cracking the shits and said, I don't want these electric. He did 1,000 miles in that and said, the electric motors don't work without a genset. Yeah?
Yeah. Plays with Salt says, maybe I just haven't watched the channel for long enough, but is there any meaning behind the name Ruby Rose? Yes, Nick, you may answer this one.
Ruby was my grandmother's name and Rose is Teresa's grandmother's name. So it's a family name.
Yeah. Someone's reminding you that it's quickfire, but I think that you've been pretty good with your quickfire.
No, the quickfire expired.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So quickfire for 5 minutes.
Oh, I didn't realise. I thought it was until the end of time.
Oh no, babe, you're not going to be that lucky this week, are you? Anyway, can anyone who hasn't smashed the likes, people that are new to the channel, hit the like button, please. We need some more likes on all this stuff, please. If you'd be so very, very kind of you. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to.
Let's take a few more questions because we've been running about an hour now.
Yeah.
And go. Oh, question for Teresa. There you go.
Oh.
I'm going to be very quiet.
Question for Teresa. See, you read that because it's all in capital letters. You couldn't actually read the question out. How do you feel about safety against raiders? Why are you asking me this? Raiders piracy on a sparkling new catamaran. Are there any safety features? Well, look, people ask us this relatively often. It is actually reasonably easy because the sharing of information these days is so kind of easy because of the internet, to avoid areas of piracy and I guess like areas where the security situation is a little bit more questionable. So, anytime there's any incident that gets put out all over the internet, there are websites dedicated just to this, so you can go onto some of these websites and actually like look for any recent incidents in any particular area. It's very easy to find the parts of the world where there are problems, and certainly with piracy is like organized. It's not just like some dude in a boat. Like it's an organized thing, so it's actually very easy to know where these kind of little piracy hubs are and to avoid them. So no, in short, I'm not concerned at all about security or piracy, because we won't be going anywhere that has piracy.
Anyway, one thing I was going to mention, did I mention Annapolis in this one or in this patrons feed?
Don't know.
I am going to try and get to Annapolis. I need to So I hope to see there. Therese probably won't be able to get out of Australia fully vaccinated by then. But so there are plans to try and get that done. So that's just one piece of news we want to throw out there. So let's just round up with a few final questions.
Yeah, we'll try and make them
let's do 5 more quick fires and,
okay.
and then we goodbye.
Any plans, I'll do the first one. Any plans to sail in Australia and Southeast Asia? So we're sailing in Australia this year on a 1260. Once we take delivery of Ruby Rose 2, our sailing or our cruising ground will be determined by where we can take delivery of Ruby Rose 2, and that will be determined by COVID restrictions. So we don't know. But hopefully we'd love to sail Southeast Asia.
Right, 4 quick fires. 4 left.
Okay. Will Ruby Rose 2 be going to, I think, being displayed at Annapolis, Cairns and Sable d'Olonne boat shows?
They want her at some boat shows, so she would definitely be at one or more boat shows, depending on where we get it delivered to, yes.
Yeah.
3.
What's the rigging for Ruby Rose 2? Conventional or Dyneema?
Conventional. I understand the strength thing, but it's about chaff.
Do you have any plans to tour the Caribbean and video your adventures with Ruby Rose 2? Again, our sailing plans kind of are dependent on COVID and logistics and where we can take delivery of Ruby Rose 2, where in the world we end up with her.
But yes, we
would love to, essentially. Wow, we should do this all the time. This
1.
is way better. Sorry, I have to pick a really good one. Oh my God. The pressure is on. I've already answered the question about the rigging. Okay.
This quickfire thing falls on its backside unless you ask the questions quickly, my darling girl.
Sorry. I'm trying to find a good question to end on.
You still got 2 left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we were on the last one.
Come on, babe.
What boat are you sailing around Australia?
Seawind 1260, learning the ropes. And those videos will be out next week.
And
final question, Mark.
Final question. Okay, everyone, if you have a question
Therese,
that you haven't... No, there's no questions there that yeah, so people are asking vanilla or chocolate. We don't want to end on that kind of question.
No, but just...
Not that it's not a good question. But, yeah, if you have any questions that you need to quickly ask us now...
The last question.
Now is the time.
Come on, babe.
How long do you expect to be able to run your air conditioning in the master cabin?
With the calculations we've got, if it's sunny, we should be able to do it full time. That's I think something we the calculations indicate that the new air conditioning systems will run completely without the need for a gen set. So we'll have aircon all the time.
Wow, they're coming through thick and fast now.
So anyway, look, I think we've been.
No, this is the best one to finish on. What excites you most about Ruby Rose 2?
Your beautiful, smiling, grumpy little face every morning when you wake up and say, I didn't sleep well. Where's my coffee? Yes, that never happened, did it? I dreamt that this morning. You woke up like a little angel.
Shall I answer that then?
Yes.
What excites us most about Ruby Rose 2? I think, for me, it's like the potential that we have in Ruby Rose 2 to sail to like literally anywhere in the world, and Ruby Rose 1 had limitations we've discussed before, but why we didn't feel like we wanted to sail her like anywhere. Ruby Rose 2 we can take to the South Pacific, we can take to Southeast Asia, we can cross oceans, we can do whatever we want on a very comfortable platform that will have everything we need to live on board. She's going to be a really fast sailing boat, great performance, beautiful
skipper.
And I'll have my own personal skipper.
All right, listen, I think on that note, we need to start saying our goodbyes to you. So listen, wherever you are, enjoy your evening, your morning. For us, it's morning. We're going to go and have our coffee. And I'm sure some of you will be having a beer or a tequila or just spending some time with family or who knows what you're up to. So listen, thank you so much for watching this. It's been amazing. We will try and come back to you with... another live feed soon. We've got lots of Ruby Rose 2 news coming up. We've got the new trailer for our Australia stuff. We've got the last Technical Tuesday coming up next week. So if you haven't already liked this video, give us a like. If you haven't already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. It is so good. And as I've said, on one final note, a lot of people are saying that their notification bell is turned off within YouTube. So if you could all just check that so that you don't miss anything. Aside from that, we wish you all the best. Lovely to see you all. Thank you for being a sterling and fantastic audience. And enjoy yourselves. Goodbye.
See ya.